estate is hard to get started. In this video, I'll be going over 10 essential tips for beginner real estate agents. You have no leads, no income, no marketing, and no clue how to close a transaction. And if you're young, then you might not even have real estate of your own. This video is not a promotion or some pitch for a coaching program. It is simply a no BS 10 tips that will actually be useful in getting started as a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent since 2020, and I personally own $1.5 million in income producing real estate. I've educated thousands of people on buying real estate, and these tips are what I see most people struggling with right out of the gate and are the difference maker of actually closing a sale. Make sure you stick around for tips 9 and 10 as they are easily the most important on this list. Number 1 is having an ICP or an ideal customer profile that you can actually market to. You need to figure out what your ideal customer is. What location are they looking in? What's their price range? Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? What demographic are they in? This allows you to simplify who you're actually marketing to. In marketing, a big lesson that I learned that actually cost me a lot of money is that you can't cast a big, general, wide net and hope to catch a fish. You need to market to a specific person. It's no different than fishing. What are you fishing for? If it's a tuna, it's going to require a far different bait and strategy than fishing for a small little lake trout. So figure out who your customer is, make a customer profile, and market directly to them. Number 2 is focus on if you're going to be a buyer's agent or a seller's agent. This goes back to my original point with the ICP, as these two are far different in what they want as an actual client. Buyers generally want a great price, a house that meets their criteria, and proper timing, versus a seller who wants the best price, largest amount of earnest money deposit for security, limited contingencies with a fast close. Identifying a buyer's specific wants versus a seller's is essential in tailoring your services to that client. This sounds simple, however, starting out, I had no idea what a buyer wanted versus what a seller wanted, and that set me up for a lot of discouragement in the future to come. Number 3, which goes with most things in life, don't be scared of rejection. You are bound to get rejected in real estate, and it's incredibly easy to get discouraged by this. But it's important to look past that rejection and move on. Past every rejection, there's a ready and willing buyer or seller that wants to do business with you. So ignore that rejection and move on to the next buyer or seller. Don't waste your time. Number 4, it's important to also do the math. This is extremely important if you're analytical and need goals to work towards. Doing the math consists of figuring out how much you want to earn per year. You then break that down into how many deals you would need to close. You then break that down into how many appointments you need to set. And then you break that into how many conversations you need to have, calls you need to make, and leads you need to generate in order to meet that goal. By breaking down these numbers, it gives you something to shoot for with daily goals to work and improve on. Without doing the math, you're flying blind and really just banking on hope to make enough. By breaking down the numbers, it gives you a daily goal. I need to make 70 calls today in order to reach that goal of $150,000 in sales, or whatever it may be. So break down the math so you're not flying blind. Starting out in the beginning, it's going to be extremely tempting to chase anything that might pop up. It might be a $150,000 deal for the first time, home buyer with a 500 credit score. Stay focused on your goals and target. You might be thinking a few $1,000s that you could earn with that $150,000 deal is more than you'd be making without it. But that's honestly just noise. I promise that deal will end up being more effort than it's actually worth and could even cost you a deal that's actually in your ideal client profile because you got distracted. So stay focused and don't be desperate to grab anything that just might be thrown your way. Stick to that ideal client profile. It'll serve you well. If you're currently employed and are considering going into real estate full-time, I would highly recommend accumulating a substantial savings before jumping right into real estate full-time. Real estate sales can be lucrative, but that's only when you actually close. If you don't close, you don't get paid, and this can be extremely stressful if you're fully banking on these real estate sales to be your living. If you have bills to pay, then this might be the best approach to save up some money prior to, just to make sure those are covered and you don't end up defaulting. And even if you do get an offer accepted in real estate, it still takes another 30 days for the deal to actually close. So once again, there is that delay, so you want to just make sure everything's accounted for so you don't put yourself in a tough situation. Number 7 is focus on bigger listings and buyers. The simple reasoning for this is that real estate is commission based, so the higher the listing amount, the higher the commission and the less sales you need to actually make to hit your goals. But also with this, the buyers are generally much easier to work with from a financing perspective. One of the biggest headaches with working with first-time home buyers is that they generally have a not so great credit score, they have limited savings and maybe have an okay job and they make decent money. But this is tricky because there are a lot of variables that need to stay constant for a deal to actually work. For example, something as simple as interest rates increasing can take them completely out of the market versus a well-qualified, prepared buyer. This might knock them down a few tiers in the housing market, but it won't take them out of the market completely. So focus on that higher income tier threshold, especially where this is going to be your main source of income. You want to make sure that you have some sort of risk aversion just to help you out in the long run and prevent you from defaulting on your important bills. Number 8 is do not fall into the real estate agent trap. Agents are notorious for buying flashy cars and jewelry when they start earning a commission. Be smart with your money and spend it wisely. Real estate commission is incredibly volatile and is not super dependable income. If a black swan event pops up that shuts the world down so you can't go outside, or the Federal Reserve decides to hike interest rates, which drastically decreases buyers' ability to purchase, or your city decides to impose a new mansion tax, dramatically impacting people's want to purchase in that given area, then you're going to wish you spent your money more wisely and invested it properly. So make sure you consider this. Don't fall into that trap, as easy as it may be. Only start buying this stuff when you can truly afford it, and you can afford it 2x with your passive income. So you can buy it twice, but it has to be with your passive income. All right, so we're at number 9, which is probably one of the most important things on this list. And that's when you start making money, it is crucial to account for taxes. The taxes will not be withheld for you. So that commission you receive, about 35 to 45% of it is not actually yours. It's Uncle Sam's. This is a brutal lesson when it comes to tax time, and you are rolling high with all this money that you thought you made, but then have to shell out tens of thousands of dollars to the tax man. I've seen this happen time and time again with new agents. They make all this money, spend most of it, if not all of it, and they're in serious trouble when tax season rolls around. So make sure you account for taxes and set this money aside appropriately. Number 10 is to invest in other steady income streams. Buy a multifamily real estate asset, or dividend yielding stocks, or a high yield savings account, or bonds, whatever it may be, to yield yourself some additional stable income. This is important as a real estate agent, as sales fluctuate often. Some years you could sell millions, and the next your sales are slashed by 30% at no fault of your own. By stacking money away into solid, steady investments, it decreases the risk for you and your family in the event something happens or the market shifts. Then simply focus solely on living off that steady income you have created, making that real estate sales gravy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're a new real estate agent or even a seasoned pro, drop a comment down below of something you would recommend for getting started in real estate. Also, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and check out one of my other videos over here.